United Veterans Organization of Nassau County. My name is Ed Allman. I'd like to thank Altice USA for providing the training for our crew and for the use of their studio facilities here in Hauppauge. The show is broadcast on public access television. You can catch Veterans News on YouTube. Just go to Veterans News UVO, Long Island, February 2020. By the way, UVO stands for United Veterans Organization. I'd like to say hello to our viewers both in Nassau and Suffolk counties. I'd like to thank Sabrina Lacey, former commander of the Suffolk County VFW, and our co-host. Hello, Sabrina.
Thank you, Ed.
I'd like to thank our crew. On camera 1, Donald Caulfield. Thank you, Donald. On camera 3, Derek Foran. Our audio director is Loretta Dobrino. Our technical director is Beverly Allman. Our director is Robert Lane. And our floor manager and production expert and otherwise expert is Pat Galino. Thank you, Pat. By the way, if you'd like to ask me any question or comment, make a comment about the show, please go to my email address, mardiv1, that's M-A-R-D-I-V, the number 1, at optonline.net. Our guests today are David Rich, the Executive Director of Nassau County's Traffic and Parking Violations Agency. I said that right?
Yes, you did.
Okay. And Paul Margiotta, who is also the Executive Director of Suffolk County's Traffic and Parking Violations Agency. Hello, Paul.
Hello.
We'll talk to our guests in a few minutes, but first let me remember some of the veterans who died recently. Frederick Ellis, a proud Army veteran of World War II, was from North Amityville. He was the first African American to volunteer for that community's fire department. Thomas Trabucco of Carl Place was a survivor of the D-Day invasion during World War II. Douglas Wilkie of Glen Head was on active duty in the U.S. Army from 52 to 55 and then served in the reserve until 1968 when he retired as a captain. Joe Catalanoto of East Islip was a corporal in the United States Marine Corps. John McGaley, an MD from Syosset, served as a flight surgeon with the U.S. Navy. And I have to say, Dr. McGaley was my elementary school doctor. And also, I found that he treated my wife. John O'Sullivan of Farmingdale was a proud veteran of the Army Air Force during World War II. Robert Van Meter of Garden City was lieutenant in the U.S. Navy. Norman Arapach lived in Babylon. He served in the Army in World War II. Arnold Arnie Bergs of Lindenhurst served in the Army during the Vietnam War as a Special Operations Airborne Division. Charles O'Shea from Point Lookout was the founder of Charles O'Shea Funeral Home, and he was a proud veteran of the USMC. John Rubshwick, this is tough, John Rubshwick of Huntington Station was a master sergeant in the Army of Air Force during World War II. John Fugina of Garden City and Quogue joined the Navy after graduating from Villanova University, the NROTC program. And lastly, Alan Rea of Garden City was an Army veteran of the Korean War, and he also was a Pulitzer Prize-winning photographer with Newsday. If you know a veteran who died recently and you would like their names mentioned here, please email me at mardiv1@optonline.net. Well, that's the end of Veterans News. Now it's time for our guest. Hello, David.
Hello.
And Paul.
Hello.
Okay. Gentlemen, there's a lot of talk about doing stuff for veterans. What exactly does the Parking Violations Bureau have to do with veterans? I'll give it to you, Paul.
Okay. So there is a veterans court where veterans may bring their moving violations and parking tickets in Suffolk County and ask for consideration of their service from the prosecutor when the prosecutor is negotiating with them what kind of plea bargain they may offer, what kind of fines they may subject to, and whether or not certain charges may be reduced or dismissed.
Now, I've heard of the Veterans Court, but that handles more serious crimes than traffic violations, doesn't it?
Veterans Court under the state system handles misdemeanors and felonies. We handle violations or really traffic infractions.
Oh, so you're a separate court.
We are. We're an arm of the New York State District Court, according to the Court of Appeals, but we handle traffic infractions.
Okay. I didn't ask you about your background first.
Sure.
You're talking about these important issues, and I think the viewers would like to know something about yourself. Where'd you go to school?
I went to law school at Toro Law. I went to Dowling for an MBA. I got my undergraduate at New York Tech and some master's work at CW Post.
So you're a local boy.
I am.
Very good.
And you also are son of a veteran.
I am a son. My father was a master sergeant in the Army Air Force during World War II.
Thank you for his service. And how about
Thank
your
you.
mom?
My mom stayed home and
Took care of
took
you.
care of the family
Right.
while he was deployed.
Well,
Absolutely.
it's honorable that he was in the World War II and he managed to give you all the attention that you needed coming back from the war and stuff like that, because everybody know how World War II was, and not that many came back. And you managed to get through school, and you
I did.
went through school, and you became a renowned lawyer, right, in our community, and you stayed in our community. So thank you for coming back to our community and
Thank
staying
you.
here.
Thank you very much.
Paul, your name was Margiotta.
Yes, it is.
Was that an Angelo Margiotta?
Joseph Margiotta,
Joseph Margiotta.
was a political leader, an assemblyman, and yes, he's part of my family.
Okay, so your uncle, father,
He was my cousin.
cousin.
Yeah.
Okay. Dave, what about you? Where'd you go to school?
I graduated Holy Trinity High School. I went to CW Post Long Island University. Then I went to SUNY Albany and I received my master's there while working for New York State at the time. And then I also received a master's in engineering from
really?
University of Pennsylvania.
Very good. What, you get a Master of Engineering.
Yes.
You're not exactly in that field now.
No, not really.
Okay. All right.
What made you go into that particular area?
It was management of technology. So I like information technology systems. I hate to say it, collection systems, revenue systems, business process re-engineering. So that type of work, it's interesting.
Did you work in that capacity?
When I worked for New York State, I was actually a tax agent, another friendly job that people like.
My daughter works for those people. She told me don't tell anybody. It's the
That's
I,
it.
the R, the S.
I worked for the IRS for a little while as well.
Yes.
Really?
It's just, identifying different ways to bring folks into compliance.
Okay. Now, the reason we're here today is to talk about your courts. There's a Veterans Court now that handles traffic violations. That's right?
That is correct.
Okay. And you are agency directors of that? How does that work? What is? You're not a judge, obviously.
We're executive directors
Executive
of
directors.
the traffic courts.
What does that mean? What do you do?
Okay. So an executive director the title is under the law, the general municipal law. It was created, and we're appointed by the county executive, confirmed by the county legislature, to oversee all operations of the Suffolk County and Nassau County Traffic and Parking Violations Agency. So everything is under our jurisdiction except the judicial hearing officers that actually act as judges and make decisions.
Right. Okay. Is that the same for you, Dave?
It is the same.
Okay. When a veteran gets a ticket, a speeding ticket, how does he know to come to you? Or when does he come? When does he go to court?
Well, on the bottom of a traffic ticket, it'll tell you when to come to court, and it'll tell you what court to go to. When they get to the court, in our court, we have posters. If they identify as a veteran, then they can be directed to Veterans Court. And we do a lot of outreach, and I'm sure Dave does.
So if a veteran shows up for court, he has a ticket. On the ticket, it tells him when he has to go to court. He shows up for the court, and then he sees a sign that says, if you're a veteran, you can go to a traffic court.
Veterans Court, yes.
And that's on a different day? Does he have to see
Yes.
somebody at the court to arrange for that?
he would go to the clerk's window, identify themselves as a veteran, ask to be put into veterans court. They will get a new court date, which is specific to veterans, and come
Okay.
back on that date.
To expand on that, the reason we choose a specific date is that we have other services available. It's not just about coming to take care of your violation, but it's also, we'll have Veteran Services Agency there. We'll have the Toro Law School will be there, Nassau Suffolk Services, as well as sometimes Veterans Affairs from Northport will also have representatives there as well. Our goal is to actually provide additional services to the veterans, not just take care of their parking traffic tickets.
So what are you trying to do is help those that only have a small issue going on at the time. And if you could alleviate that stress, that one stress that they got from that parking infraction, then maybe if they have something else going on in their family, the resources is there, and you could gear them right into those resources so they don't have to stay on in the same large amount of stresses that are going on in their lives right now. Is that something
Yeah.
that works out? Because you said that you have all those resources there for them.
If a veteran gets a ticket and he knows there's a veterans court, doesn't know when they meet or where they meet, can he call somebody to find out where the court is and when they meet? And can he make the arrangements over the phone that he's going to go to the the veterans court instead, or does he have to do this all in person?
In Suffolk County, he can call Toro Veterans Law Clinic. He can call Veterans Administration. He could probably call Northport, as Dave said.
Or they call, in Suffolk County, they could call the Veterans Association services at the town exec's office, because we have a big veteran service there, and they probably could give them guidance. If a veteran need anything, I don't know about Nassau County, but I know that in Suffolk County, we have a veterans good office over there in the Dennison building that will gear any problem that a veteran may have in terms of traffic court or regular court that they need. So they can.
So if you're a veteran in Suffolk County, you have a ticket, you can call the Veteran Service Agency?
Yes.
And tell them that you have a ticket?
Yes, and ask them for the resources for that, for the traffic court, and they'll probably refer them to him.
You will have to show up in person.
You will. That's what I have
Yes.
to fill.
But the most important thing is, let's say, for instance, I got a ticket. Now I have this ticket in my hand. What do? I follow through with the ticket, and I put down, I disagree, I'm not guilty, and I send it back in.
Yes, you would mail in the ticket or appear and plead not guilty and request Veterans Court. I think that would be the same.
Yes.
I'm still a little confused.
Okay.
Treat me as a person that just got a ticket.
Okay.
I see on the ticket that I have to appear on, what is today, February 15th, which is only 20 days from now.
Right.
By the way, that's the approximate date. The date on the ticket is about 22 days ahead of the day that you got the ticket.
Yes.
Okay. I'm a veteran. I know there's a veterans court, but I have to appear on the date of the ticket. Do I have to appear?
In Nassau, we allow you to appear prior to that date if you want. Again, what we're trying to do is we want to resolve as many violations as we can. You can also, if you're aware, you go to our website. Sometimes people try to figure out, what do I need to do to appear in court? We provide those instructions. On there, we do have a link that says these are our specific dates for Veterans Court.
Right.
So, it also gives you the information that you could appear on that date for the Veterans Court. If you do appear in person, if the individual actually relays to our staff that they are a veteran, we'll make them aware that we have a specific Veterans Court for them.
And then they would have to go a second time
They would come
to
a different date.
separate court.
Yes, and again, the idea is we want them on a specific date because we have these other services available. If they come in any day other than that, we don't have the other agencies there to assist their needs.
I'm
And
a
they
little
also
confused.
have notified all the nonprofit organizations. So sometimes what we have is sometimes we bring them down to our meetings and they will give out this information. So that's what we are probably, with the American Legions and the VFWs, let them be aware of where and what the system will be. And maybe we can get some kind of information to them. Or they can come down and speak to us in one of our meetings and then give the information to the veterans. And we can just put it down into the veterans so they'll know what they need to do. Because a lot of veterans are interested in this topic. It's a very, very powerful topic, Ed.
In Nassau County, the Veterans Court is on the third Wednesday or Thursday of the
Thursday.
month.
Yep.
If I get a ticket before that day, can I just go to that court on that day and ignore the date on my ticket?
It depends how much. There's some leeway from the due date to the time frame that the next action may take. So, if it's a month later, you may already possibly get a collection letter. If it's within a week or two, it will be all right. You'll go into a new case status, but we won't be taking any additional action. Ideally, if you receive a ticket and you want to appear on the Veterans Court date, notify the court that you're going to plead not guilty, and then you have the opportunity to come in on that Veterans Court date.
How do you notify the court that that's what you want to do,
You could mail in the ticket that would say not guilty,
right?
or we have a number that you could call a general number, and then we would be able to take a plea over the phone for a not guilty
Fine.
plea.
And a lot of these things
Fine.
are online, so you could also do a non-plead online. All right?
We don't have that
You don't
ability
have
yet.
that yet?
Not yet.
No.
Not yet.
Okay, so
Sorry.
that's not available.
Not in our district.
Okay.
So that's good news to know. Okay.
So now I have it down. If I get a ticket, I can call up the.
Nassau
There's a
County.
phone number on the
Yes.
ticket. Is there a phone number on your ticket?
No, there's no phone number on the tickets. If you go to his website, he has a phone number. If you go to our website, it will just explain that there is a Veterans Court, but you will have to mail it in, or you will have to appear and ask for Veterans Court.
You have to appear before a regular court first.
You have to separate the street from the court. So in the street, it's the police department. Police department are issuing the tickets, they're
Right.
giving you instructions. Those instructions are set in the vehicle and traffic law. You have to follow those instructions in Suffolk County. When you follow those instructions, at some point you will either be identified as a veteran, you may see a sign or have watched the show or been told by someone else, then you request Veterans Court. That's how it works in Suffolk.
Right.
But
Let's
you
say, for
follow
instance-
the regular law up until the point that you've identified as a veteran and ask for a special court.
Let's say, for instance, we decide that we want to just be like a civilian and just go through the process and go up and appear in front of the court on our own accord. They may just make us pay the whole ticket or half of the ticket, right?
You would be offered a plea bargain that any citizen would be offered with your driving record.
Right. And then if we decided that we want to get a lawyer to do it for us and we have to pay, that would be another expense on the veteran. That's why we have this veteran court coming through it.
There is no requirement or no need for an attorney if you're going to our Veterans Court, and I believe the same is with
This is correct.
But if you go to the regular court, you're going to may need a lawyer. No.
That's
It's
up to you.
your jurisdiction.
That's up to you.
All right.
Yeah.
I've gone quite a few times with some people, and what happens is they spend all day in these courts, and then it's very taxing on the veteran because a lot of the veterans have PTSD and they cannot sit that long. Sometimes you have to wait veterans, sometimes maybe 2 or 3 hours. All right. And a lot of them have to go to work, and they have other obligations. So, and they're already agitated. So this, what I see as trying to get that stress off, not sitting there and getting riled up because you know you didn't do too much wrong, but you had this stress that's going on because of what happened. So to alleviate that, what they can do is they can get that ticket, right? And if there's no phone call in Suffolk County, they would have to just mail it in and say that they disagree with it.
Plead
and
not guilty.
Plead not guilty. It goes in. They will get a response back,
Yes.
right, at some point. Don't wait no longer than 2 weeks, right?
2-3 weeks.
All right, because if you wait too long, it could get a little bit more taxing. And then what you do is you would find one of the nonprofit organizations, or you call the county and you ask them for the veterans organization, and then you ask them how to get in contact with the veterans court for traffic, right?
Just
For
on,
traffic.
on the other side of that, though, I had an individual last week who identified himself as a veteran. He had PTSD. We're not saying don't come on any other day. If you want to take care of your tickets on a different date, we will honor that. I actually took the individual, we put him in a quieter area of the building, and we resolved his ticket that way also.
Oh, that's great. That's good.
So the national studies that we have seen rank traffic tickets among the top 10 concerns of veterans. I believe it surpassed homelessness. So it's a serious issue that they're facing. What we identified was young veterans coming back from overseas, driving a vehicle, being put in a situation where they're reacting as if they were in a war zone.
Right.
And they're counteracting whatever happened, and that's going to get them pulled over. So if there's something there that would remind them of what happened in a war zone, and they try to evade it or take whatever action they would have, they're getting pulled over. We're not training them when they come back how to drive again. They're
Right.
still used to driving in a war zone.
Why should a veteran go to traffic court? Why? What's the advantage to a veteran of going to one of your traffic courts as opposed to any court?
Well, the services Dave talked about.
The
there's
different
a
services
lot
that are
of
available.
services.
Again, depending on the perspective, is that the individual, they may be at risk of losing their license, or right now their driving privileges are suspended or revoked by New York State. Their vehicle also has an ability to, in Nassau County, to be boot and tow. So we want to work with that veteran to try and have them stay on the road, stay either employed or stay where they need to go to doctor's appointments, or just basically live everyday life. So that's our goal, is to ensure that the veteran can stay and being able to enjoy life.
That's good.
We're giving a consideration for somebody who has made a major sacrifice. So we're recognizing that a veteran has made a major sacrifice. There may be consequences to that sacrifice, PTSD and other issues. So we're taking that, the prosecutor's taking that into consideration when discussing their matter with them. We believe, as I'm sure Dave does, that veterans have paid a debt that we could not pay back. So there's a little we can do in our positions to try to help.
Yeah.
And we as veterans honor you for doing that, because anything that anyone could do for us veterans out here has made a difference. And we can tell from the way that the Vietnam veterans were treated when they came back. And now we have an opportunity to go forward and mingle back into the community and become citizens like we need to be.
When did the traffic court begin?
In Suffolk County, about a year and 3 months ago.
Over a year you've had it.
Yes.
And Nassau County?
We started back in October of 19.
Okay, and the traffic court is different than the regular Veterans Treatment Court?
Absolutely. Veterans Treatment Court is in a New York State court, and they handle misdemeanors or felonies.
Right. Okay.
And we had them on here a couple of months ago,
Yeah,
right?
we've had the
We work
people
closely
from-
with them.
You do?
Yes. Yeah, in both counties we do. In both counties, we work very closely with the veterans courts.
And their mentors are actually at our court on the service day as well.
Do you have some, if there's an infraction in Nassau County, do you have to go to the Nassau County Court?
Good question.
If the ticket is returnable to district court, if they would have to go to district court, which would be a misdemeanor or above, such as a DWI. But if it's a traffic infraction or a parking violation or photo enforcement, then they would come to Nassau County Traffic and Parking Violations Agency.
When they have an infraction in another district, like in Brooklyn or New York, they have to go to the court in that district as well?
That's their jurisdiction, yes, that would be correct.
Does a veteran have 2 shots at the court, the traffic court, or only 1 shot?
In Suffolk County, it's a one-shot deal.
1 shot? How about Nassau County?
I guess you'll have to rephrase the question. What would be my shot?
1 speeding ticket, you go to the traffic court.
Okay.
You get a 2nd speeding ticket, you go to the traffic court again?
They can come and we would just look at, again, their driving history, how fast they were going, so we would take that into account. They would be able to visit again, and we would look to see again what opportunities there were to resolve the violation.
Very good.
You know what I like? It's like you being like a overseer. So if you know the person and having another one, then you know to put them into that resource that you have already available there.
There might be a reason why they got the 2nd violation, and
Yes.
that's somebody that now they can talk to one of the other resources that are there.
Sabrina, do you have any other questions?
Yes. As we go forward with this, and we have veterans out there that need to come to anyone for any kind of resources, we need to let them know that there are resources out here of a high magnitude, unlike it was before. the community in Nassau County and Suffolk County, like these gentlemen are here, and I'm quite sure they give back by volunteer their services in other capacity, or they could direct the veterans where they need to go. We need to let the veterans know they need to reach out and ask for help, and don't be afraid. It does not take away any of the accolades that they have occurred as being a lieutenant or a colonel in the military. Those stresses that are here now is not only directed towards military people, but also civilian people as well, because we are changing in this world right now, and there's a lot of things that are moving rapidly. And with the veterans, the reason why we have opportunities like this is because everything is moving so fast. And when the veteran come back, we try to get them to slow down a little bit, and they could stop racing. And that's why we had the Northport VA, the hospital, and I'm quite sure you're all aware of that, to refer them there. Because if they are on the road and they're racing, and they're thinking that they got to get somewhere on time in the military may be a half an hour early, okay? And they don't know. And that's why we have this service available for them. But the veteran need to know that there are a multitude of services that are out there. Just because you go for one, that would make room for a whole bunch of other opportunities. For example, if they come to veteran court and they need resources with, like, say, housing, or if they need resources with someone helping them get where they need to go because they cannot get there on time, then we can have those resources. And that's what the American Legions and the VFWs, the DAV, and all these organizations are doing. We are here to service you. However, if we don't know what your problem is and we cannot reach out to you, then we can't provide these services that our tax dollars are paying for to serve you when you come back from a war after serving and doing what you need to do to protect our nation and our kids and our family. Ed?
An accused to get into Veterans Court has to plead guilty before he even
Not guilty.
begins with the program.
Not guilty.
Not guilty is how
Not
your
guilty
people.
in our programs. Not like, I don't know what the state court does, but
Right.
you plead not guilty.
You plead not guilty,
Yes.
and then somebody has to prove you're guilty. Or
Well,
how
then you
does it
speak to a
work?
prosecutor.
You speak to a prosecutor.
Right.
What happens if you're guilty? Do you get points taken off your insurance or something like that?
Your license.
If you're found guilty
Yes.
in any traffic court, yeah, you're going to get some sort of ramification, whether it be points, insurance issues, DMV, absolutely.
And insurance can go up rapidly.
Oh yeah, mine's never gone down.
How many veterans get found not guilty?
In Veterans Court, no one is going to trial. Everyone is being offered some sort of service, some sort of deal, and they're accepting that deal.
Right. Very good.
So, yeah.
That's marvelous.
And Ed, with the expense of living in anywhere in this country right now, having a traffic ticket and then having a red light ticket, a person who's on a fixed income, they could spend between $200 to
Yeah.
$300 easily, because you have to pay it real quick, or unless it'll go up
Yeah.
tremendously. So, and the expense that the veterans, the young ones are having, like my daughter or some other young ones that I do with the Student Veterans Association, they don't have those type of monetary money to just give away. So they need to be able to say, I got this problem. How can I avoid paying this $80 to $100 to a $200 bill this month when I'm trying to pay my electric bill?
Yeah. Okay, is there any closing remarks you have? Because we have less than a minute to go.
I think, as Paul said, we're just trying to give back to folks that, there's definitely a need for veterans that need assistance, and we're trying to help wherever we can.
Good, very good. Crew, how about you come up here? Get behind the screen so we can show you. Come on.
And we just wanted to say thank you to your family, your father and your mother. Both of your fathers served in World War II.
Come on.
And thank you for their service, and thank you for them coming back home also, as well.
Thank you.
Thank you for saying that.
Okay, Donald is here. Loretta is here. Derek, all right.
And Bob is in the
And
thing,
Bob is
taking
in the
care of
back, and
business.
okay, Beverly's in the back. All right, thank you very much for watching the show. I hope you see us again this month, February, on a Tuesday and a Thursday. Catch us on the public access channel. Okay? Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. sir.
No, it's very good. Good.
Brian Coleman.
Yeah.
How can you charge so much for the tickets? You wanna get rich overnight?
It's, but listen, we gotta remember the main thing is public safety. So when you're out there speeding, if you hit somebody,